So Anna Slutsky, I go by Anya as well. I've had my license since 2004. I've been a full-time realtor for the past 4 years, and it's been an amazing, very, very fun ride. So I'm not gonna ask you if you know a realtor, because you do know me. Do you know more than 2 realtors? Raise your hand. More than 3? Okay, awesome. So you know quite a few of us. There's quite a few of us out there. So how would you know who's a good realtor, who's not? Who's good for the job, who will get the job done? What makes a good realtor, right? That's a great question. Because realtors essentially deal with your highest investment, with a lot of money. Who would you trust with a lot of money? So for me, as a realtor, it is someone who will get the job done. If you're a seller, you will get the highest and best offer for your property. If you're a buyer, you will get, I'm not going to say the lowest, but given the circumstances, you will actually get the house in our current market conditions. Someone who's professional, someone who is always online. I know it's probably not a good statement for someone who's teaching you to balance your life, but realtors have to be online 24/7. And amazing how it happens, all of your negotiations happen at night. You submit your offer somewhere during the day, and at night, right around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock p.m. is when the negotiation starts. And you usually finish by, midnight, 1 o'clock. That's pretty normal. That's the life of a realtor. You work when others are off, and I enjoy doing that. Knowledgeable. Very important to know the market knowledge. Very important to know every tool available to your buyers and sellers to complete the transaction, right? You need to know the contract. You need to know how to manipulate different things within the contract. You need to know how to make it look attractive to the potential buyer and seller while getting the best deal for your client. So luckily I possess all of that knowledge. And finally, great negotiator. You have to know how to negotiate. This is the human psychology. You need to be sitting in front of that person and try to figure out what it is that they have in mind and try to make it work for both parties. So let's talk about the current market conditions. Real estate has cycles. Right now we are in the spring cycle where the market woke up after the winter sleep, I should say. Yes, that's exactly what it is. And market is crazy. If you have something to sell, awesome time to sell right now. If you want to buy, I'm sorry, be patient. That's our market. Now, real estate market goes through cycles. So spring is active right around middle of May, it quiets down. It goes pretty quietly through the beginning of July because you have your Memorial Day weekend at the end of May. In June, you've got all of the graduations and weddings, and people take vacations when the school is out. 4th of July weekend, again, people go out of town. So in the middle of July, things pick up again, and they go pretty actively. In areas with good schools, it slows down again at the end of August and through the middle of September because parents put their kids in school and they're just overwhelmed with the new schedule. And then fall, again, is very active up until the Thanksgiving. And then things kind of quiet down. So, not to say that the quiet moments are not a good time to sell, not to say that the quiet moments are not a good time to buy, but it's good to know those cycles so that you know how to work them to your advantage. Right now, so I was telling Michael, I wrote 4 offers this past week. 39 disclosure packets out, 27 disclosure packets out. Those are the numbers we we're dealing with. When you're representing a buyer and you hear 39 disclosure packets out, well, think of it this way. account for at least half of it being offers. So we were competing with, 20 offers, 17 offers. Crazy time, crazy time. And when buyers see the price, they think, oh gosh, this is what I'm gonna get. Yeah, I can totally afford it. They don't see where it's gonna go. So this is kind of the challenge of a realtor, to make sure that you manage those expectations and you actually figure out how to coach your potential buyer or seller to get to where they need to be. We have a lot of all cash buyers right now, and we have a lot of buyers with 50% down payment, cash down payment. So that's another challenge. If you have to take out a loan, you have to be very, very aggressive with it. So there's going to be more on that later. In our crazy market, about 30% of all deals never make it to the open market. They're called pocket listings. How would you find out about them? Why do they happen? Well, I'll cover that a little bit later, but this is just something to keep in mind. And finally, we are in the multicultural mixer here, right? We've got people from all over the world. And when you deal with real estate transaction, you need to understand the mentality and negotiating styles of different cultures in order for you to be successful. So that's another little component of the business that is can be challenging but also exciting. So we're definitely in a seller's market. Sellers are doing awesome. They're putting the property on the market. They're getting 5 to 15 to 20 offers. Offers are usually super clean, no contingencies. Everything's wonderful. Now, if you look at the list of properties, you do see some properties that have sat there for 14 days, 20 days. What happens to those? If market is so active, how come they didn't sell? There's several reasons why property would not sell. First is a pricing strategy. Some sellers say, well, I see my neighbor's house sold for this much. Why can't we just list it there? You can't, because you need to price a little bit under the value of the market in order for your house to rise in price. And this is kind of a mental barrier for people to overcome. You need to lure people in so that you can negotiate the highest and best price. Do you need to buy property before you sell? How do you handle this situation? With our crazy markets, a lot of sellers have to sell first to free up their funds to buy later. Well, for that, you have rent back options. So you have a way to negotiate the situation for a seller to make it less stressful for them to transition from one property to another. Preparing the property for sale. This is basically the most important thing. So the reason why a property would not sell is if it was not properly staged, if it was not properly priced, and if it does not show well. So when I help people sell properties, I cover their staging costs, which is between $2,000 and $2,500. I take it upon myself as a marketing expense. Your inspections are somewhere between $500 to $1,000. Again, I cover that expense because I understand how much sellers have to go through. And then you've got overall marketing. So your property has to get the maximum exposure to the marketplace. About 90% of people find their home online. If your home is not placed everywhere on every website online, you're not going to be able to sell it. It's not going to get the maximum exposure. Open house. When people walk in, they need to feel like they're at home. So it is up to the realtor to prepare the house for the marketplace before it ever hits the market. All the job is done before the first day on the market, so that within a week, you're done. If your house has sat there for more than 2 weeks, it's time to negotiate down. This is when you start losing money as a seller. I have a great example. So I was selling a townhouse in Los Gatos Woods. Oh, already? I talk too much. Okay, I was selling a townhouse in Los Gatos Woods community a few months ago. I saw that at the same time as I was preparing a property, another realtor from my company was preparing exact same unit. That unit was remodeled nicer, everything was beautiful. I walked in, we decided to exchange the looks ahead of time. I walked into her place and I said, oh, this is gorgeous. Are you gonna stage it? Nah, it's fine, market is so active. I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, where are you gonna price it? I'll price it at $8.99. I'm like, really? I was thinking $8.30 so that we end up going to like $9.50, $9.60. She goes, no, you're so undervaluing this property, never gonna work. I'm like, okay, well at least let's stagger it. How about you go on the market first, I give you a week to get into a contract, then I go second. She goes, sure. So she puts the property on the market. She's on the market for a week, no offers. She calls me, she's like, delay your listing. I'm like, I can't, my clients moved, they need the money. I'm like, we're coming on. So I staged the property, inspections are done, all the documents are in order, everything's ready. We come on the market, 8 offers, we sell for $9.60. She's still on the market. 40 days later, she's still on the market. Her clients call me, they're like, you know, we understand you're from the same company, but can we please hire you? I come in, take over the listing. That was not a pleasant thing to go through. Stage the property, get all the documents done. We come on the market at 8:28. Her clients had, or now my clients, had a nervous breakdown. They're like, we are not gonna sell for this. I'm like, as a seller, you have a right to refuse any and all offers. Don't worry about it. So we put it on the market, 6 offers, we sell for $9.40. Okay, 1 week, 1 week. That's if the job is done. Let's talk about off market real quickly. Done completely? Done. Okay, fine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.